Hey guys, it's Melissa Inez. As promised, I'm gonna go ahead and do a video on how to do a more defined eyebrow. And I did get a couple of requests for not only a defined brow, but also how to map your brows out based on your eyebrow shape, how your eyebrows sit, and your face shape. So I will be doing that today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the products or supplies that you're going to need to do a more defined brow, you're gonna be needing about 4 or 5 products in order to do a more defined brow. So the first thing you're gonna need is an angled flat brush. This is a little bit different than the one that I used before because this one has shorter bristles on it, and I like to use this one versus the one that I used originally for the natural brow look. But I like to use this one for my more defined brow look because it's a little bit more precise to me when you're doing cleaner lines. Secondly, you're gonna need some brow pomade. I like to use e.l.f. and this is the e.l.f. brow pomade in medium brown. If I can get the camera to focus. All right, from there, you're also gonna need some brow gel. Now this is what I told you guys about before. This is the Julep Iconic Brow, and this is my absolute favorite. What I love about it is the fact that the brush is so small that it allows you to comb your brows a little bit more precisely, kind of like how the Benefit products are. And this one is in clear. Okay, of course you are gonna need a brush to go ahead and comb your brows out. So this is what I like to use. Again, you can use the mascara type. The reason I like to use this type of brush is because it has basically a brush and a comb on it. So I can kind of comb my brows because I have naturally thick brows because I'm apparently a hairy person. Thanks mom and dad. But I like to use the comb first to kind of comb them down and then use the brush to kind of straighten up from there. Okay, and then you'll also need, and this is optional of course, but if you're really doing that defined brow, this is gonna be a brow and eye highlighter. So this is by Milani, and my light is so bright that I can't get it to focus. I'm sorry. And this has got matte and a luminous side. Today I'm going to use the matte side because I'm simply going to be using it to line the bottom of the brow to give it a more defined look. And then of course you can honestly use your finger, but I like to use like a smudging brush for when I'm smoothing out the highlighter, just so that I can smooth it down so it doesn't look like I drew a line up underneath my eyebrow. So okay, so first thing you wanna do, and of course, I forgot to do this on my last video, I'm gonna basically brush my brows and comb my brows to kind of tame them. What I normally do is I start from the center, I'll brush that area, or I'll comb that area up, and then I'll kind of go over and then just make sure that everything's in place. And then I'll take the brush end of it and kind of just brush some of the hairs down, because sometimes my brows get long. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old or what, but sometimes they get a little long and they start to stick up. So I like to use this end, and of course the brow gel helps with that as well. So I'll go ahead and do the other one as well, just so I can get that out of the way. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So with the brow pomade, you don't need a whole lot. So I'm gonna show you guys first off how to map your brows out, just so that if you don't have higher set brows like I do, if you have maybe medium or lower set brows, then you can map them out based on your face shape, so it's a little bit easier for you to draw or kind of fill in that more natural yet defined look. So what I normally do, and you can use a brush, this is the cheap way to do it, or you can buy a map or a brow mapping tool. That was a mouthful. I know Benefit has one that's really awesome. Honestly, the practical way is just to use your makeup brush. So first off, what I like to measure, I'm gonna basically be measuring from 3 different points. So from the inside of my brow, where my arch is, and then where the end of my brow should stop, okay? So for my first measurement, I'm gonna take the brush and I'm just gonna put it right on the side of my nose, right there where the tip of my nose and the nostril actually starts. And that's gonna kind of show you where I'm supposed to start my brow. So from there, I'm just gonna kind of, just so you guys can see how I'm mapping them. From there, I'm just gonna make a little dot because I know that's where that one should start. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna take the brush, put it on the tip of my nose, put it right across my pupil and right on over my brow. And that is gonna show me here where my arch should be. Okay, so from there, I'm just gonna mark it with my product. Again, you don't need to mark it too heavy, just a little bit, like a little dot, to be honest, just so that when you're going in and drawing and filling in, that you don't have a bunch of dots on your face. And then lastly, from here, I'm gonna take this on the bottom corner of my eye, and that's when from the tip of my nose, and that's where my eyebrow is supposed to stop. So I'll go ahead and mark that side as well. Just like a tap, 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 honestly, is sufficient. I'll go ahead and do the other side just so you guys can see how I map both of them out, and then I'll go ahead and start filling in from there. So on this side, I dropped my brush. Okay, so basically it's gonna work the same way as when I did the natural brow. I'm gonna start lining my bottom of my brow first, out down to the side, and then I'll go up to the top, and then I'll kind of connect the lines there. So just the same way that I did my natural brow, you don't wanna start at the very tip of your brow, because then it's gonna look like you just drew your stuff on. So I'm gonna start not necessarily where the hair starts to straighten. I'm gonna start about midway through, just because this is more of a defined brow look. So from there, you don't need to put a whole lot of this brow pomade on there, because a little bit goes a long way. Even though it's a defined brow, you still wanna make sure that you know, you're filling in correctly so that it still has that natural look to it. So I'll go ahead and start about halfway across from where my hairs go upwards, and I'm just gonna basically draw and line the bottom of my brow all the way down to where my brow stops. Okay, so let me show you guys how I do this. You can kind of see where I drew the bottom line there. It looks a little crazy right now, but have faith, because you'll fill it in afterwards and it won't look like some random line on the bottom of your brow. So from there, I'm gonna do the top. So again, I'm not gonna start the very tip. I'm gonna start about halfway across, and I'm just gonna line the top. And again, I've got thicker brows. If you want to go with a thicker look, you can go a little bit further up or a little bit further down to give it that thicker look. But since I already have pretty thick brows, I'm gonna go ahead and just right along where my brow hair grows, just to kind of like line that as well. So honestly, you know, I hear a lot of people say, well, how do your brows look like that? How do you get them to stay so thick? Like, what do you do? I get my brows threaded, and I've found that when I get them threaded, it's a lot more precise and meticulous with the way that they do it. So I really like to get that done versus waxing, because I got sensitive skin, and I feel like when you get your brows waxed, it pulls off a layer of your skin. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, I got my eyebrows waxed a whole lot back in the day, and now my hair doesn't grow correctly. I don't think that happens with threading, because I've been getting my eyebrows threaded for about close to 15 years now, and I think I've got pretty good growth. So stop waxing if you can, and maybe try threading. It does hurt a little bit, but it just, I feel like it's a little bit healthier for your hair growth, if you will. So just my little tidbit of advice. And so from there, I've got the top lined as well. So what I'm gonna do from here is I'm just gonna kind of fill in some of my bare spots, because I do have, I wouldn't say bare spots, but I've got areas where my hair is a little bit thinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill in from there. So with the brush, really what you're wanting to do is just kind of go in and just make those natural hair-like strokes, so that you're filling it in pretty naturally. So from there, then we'll go ahead and hit the inside, and then I'll show you guys how to do the other one. So again, just really like lighter natural strokes here, because you don't want it to look too dark in certain areas and not dark enough in others. So just kind of fill in as you go. And again, no right or wrong way to do it. Just make sure that you're not putting too much product on your brush so that it doesn't like leave big chunks of that pomade in your eyebrow. All right. Okay, so you guys can kind of see I've got it all filled in from here. So what I'm gonna do on the inside part is I'm just gonna make those strokes upwards, basically the same way that I did when I did my natural brow. So you wanna take it so that the brush is angled upwards and just kind of go in and then make those strokes up just to kind of fill that area in. Again, you're not wanting to do it super dark, just enough to kind of fill it in and give you those natural brush strokes as well, but not so dark that it looks like you drew your brows. So kind of fill it in from there. And honestly, you can kind of see, no one's perfect. I've got like little areas here, the very corner of my eyebrow, where it just kind of looks like the hair doesn't grow down as much, and you can fix that by just really doing natural strokes. But make sure that when you're doing it, you're consistent with where you're starting and stopping your brush, so that you're not going too far down, too far up, so that it does have that natural look to it, you know? I'm gonna fill in a little bit more over here just to kind of top it off. All right, and then from there, I will go ahead and take my brow gel, and you're really just going in with the way that the hair grows and kind of making sure that everything looks tame. I love this brow gel because it keeps my eyebrows in place all day, and I feel like it locks my pomade in. I don't know if that's a thing, but I feel like it does. So we're gonna go with that. But no disclaimers to any products and how long your brows stay on, but it works for me. Okay, so from there, I'm gonna take my highlighter, and again, I'm gonna use the matte side, and really, I'm just trying to make my brow look more defined. So I'm really just gonna draw a line up underneath my brow, and this is a really creamy pencil, so you don't really have to put a whole lot on. Just enough to kind of line it underneath. So from there, you can use your finger. I like to use like a smudging brush or something just to kind of get that, you know, get in and precise, so you're kind of smoothing it out so that it doesn't look like you drew the line under your brow, but it's giving that like highlighted look so that it's more defined. Okay, so that, my friends, is a defined eyebrow. So I'll go ahead and get the other one done just so you guys can see the completed look, and then we'll go from there. All right, so from there, I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I'll kind of look at them and I'll just kind of see what I need to do, and then I'll just kind of fill in as I go just to make sure they look as uniform as they can be. Of course, nobody's eyebrows are perfect, but I like to make them as perfect as possible just because I'm weird. So. All right, and that's pretty much it. Honestly, it takes a little bit longer to do the defined brow versus the natural brow, maybe what, 5 more minutes. So you guys can kind of see without me zooming in too much, because it's just me and I can't zoom in right now. But this is pretty much the look here. They got that defined look. You can really see where my arch is underneath my eye. And you know, that's pretty much it. So again, I'm gonna definitely try to incorporate a lot of useful content into my videos for you guys, so that you stay tuned. Thank you so much for everyone that has subscribed. I really, really appreciate that. And of course, you can still subscribe below, so please do so. I'm gonna go ahead and also post all the products and brushes that I've used as well in the links below, just so you guys can kind of have a good idea of what it is that I buy. And I'll even post the links so you can buy it on Amazon or whatever store they carry them in, so that you guys can use the same products, so that it's a lot easier for you to replicate my videos as well. So again, please feel free to comment if you guys have any suggestions on any other videos that you want me to do, any different products that you want me to try, you know, ways that I can improve on my videos, or just whatever you guys want to say. Any comment is acceptable, even if it's shade, that's all right. So again, thank you so much guys for watching. More videos to come, so stay tuned. I am Melissa Inez, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.